I hope you enjoyed the first two speakers, including myself. Now let me introduce Nives Ožeg. Nives Ožeg is Our Lady from Zagreb and Nives Samobor, right? So our girl and Our Lady from Samobor. She has been over 20-25 years in the supply chain and commerce. And I think she was employed as a graduate in Coca-Cola in Zagreb. First part of her career was in finance, where she was in accounting, in business planning, in credit management, and then she moved into supply chain. She was holding a positions of procurement manager, supply chain planning manager, logistics manager, and now she is a supply chain director of Coca-Cola Adria, which consists of Slovenia, Croatia, and Bosnia. For today's event, Nives flew from Athens and her plane couldn't land. She returned back to Athens. Then she flew from Athens to Munich, from Munich to Zagreb this morning. And just right after this conference, she will be driving to Torino to continue her management tasks. So she will talk about supply chain in Coca-Cola. Please welcome Nives Ožeg. Thank you.
Bruno, thank you very much. Very nice introduction.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I hope you really enjoyed these presentations up to now because they were really great. Kind of scary how the supply chain looks like at this point. However, I will now kind of try to bring you a bit on a smaller scale. So how does it look in one company now? Firstly, I will try to introduce myself a little bit different. You already find out everything about me on my LinkedIn profile, I believe, because it has a lot of hits since the supply chain conference was announced. So who am I? Apart from being the supply chain director of Coke HBC Adria, I am a proud mom of a teenager, and I can really seriously say that it's much harder and difficult role than being a supply chain manager in Adria. I also have a little dog who at least sometimes brings me outside to walk for a little bit and not to sit or travel constantly in my job. And last but not least, what I really enjoyed doing is sampling of our products with my friends. This is my kind of biggest hobby, and also reading a book with some nice glass of, you will see, some premium spirits later on. And also, I like cooking, baking cakes. I hope I will have a really nice festive period with my daughter and my family in front. So, I will now introduce you to my second home, which is the company that I work for. Most of you already know what we are producing and what are the main products that we have. I'm not sure how many of you are aware that we are actually the proud distributors also of so-called 24/7 portfolio, which you will see a little bit later in a movie that I'm going to present. And as Bruno and Mate already talked today, we are also working a lot on our sustainability. Being a global company, I believe it's really, really very much important. So now, let us see who we are. Okay, I hope you liked the movie. And now a little bit about Coke Adria supply chain. Supply chain in Adria consists of 3 countries, basically, as the entire Adria consists of 3 countries, and we are operating on 3 markets, which are Slovenia, Croatia, and Bosnia. What is important to say here is that we do have 2 plants. One is in Zagreb and one is in Sarajevo. They are both operating basically with the plant manager. We have a logistic manager who is in charge of logistics of all 3 countries. We have a sustainability manager, of course, very important because of all the things that we already heard today. And we have a planning, procurement. But what I'm especially proud of, and I think it differs us from maybe other companies, that as of next year, as of actually January next year, we are going to have also capability development manager for Adria, who will be in charge of developing capability of all our people, coming from the frontliners, which are basically running the business every day from the floor, up to all the people that we currently have in our management structure as well. So, in Coke Adria, in Coke and Coca-Cola Hellenic, basically, what is really specific is that supply chain is not reporting to GMs, even though we are one of the biggest contributors to the cost side of P&L, I would say. Coca-Cola has a principle in which we are actually reporting to regional directors in order to leverage and to benefit from all the things that we can have when reporting to the larger entity. So we are benefiting from the opportunities coming from cross-border or borderless supply chain, basically, from economies of scale this way, optimizing our organizational structure, and we are networking actually between different countries. In the left corner, I'm not sure how visible it is, it's only the supply chain Adria people. So out of 750, these people represent supply chain per country. A little bit more of a numbers. We are managing 741 SKU in our 3 countries, and we are shipping during the year more than 9,000 trucks. So whoever is scared in logistics that they are going to be without a job, they aren't. And we are, in a year, we are delivering 57 million cases only in Adria, physical cases. When I say physical case, this is the case that you can physically buy in the stores. And actually, this represents around 250 to 270 millions of liters. You have the error. I have the error on this slide here. So this is supply chain Adria in a nutshell and in numbers, so that you can start seeing how big, what are the complexities that we are trying to manage every day. When I think about supply chain planning, what I usually think about is supply chain planning represents a brain of the operations to me. And they are actually very, very much in charge of S&OP process, being one of the biggest and most important processes that we have in our operation. So what we see here is how this brain is functioning, basically. So we have all the commercial functions and finance taking all the data that we have currently on the market and creating something that we call here forecast. Then this forecast is actually brought to demand planning, who is giving it a glance, I would say. They are giving it a more perspective in the future. So demand planning in Coca-Cola represent actually the very important link who is working together with us on giving us the 13-week forecast, which will help us have everything on time. And then supply chain planning comes as a tool, which is actually putting all these things into more perspective. So we are planning their productions, we are planning warehouse capacities, haulage capacities, distribution towards our customers. And all of this is actually having a big impact directly on our P&L, because the KPIs that we are in charge of are out of stock. And even though inventory will not be so important, and will be more important, we have to be careful still about inventory days and inventory values that we are currently having in our company, as we are fast-moving consumer goods company. Also, indirectly, we are influencing by all these KPIs our P&Ls. As by planning production, we are actually planning how many cleanings of the line we will have, or how many changeovers we will have. This is also creating kind of a cost in the perspective of the P&L. The same as every other of these inputs. So, how does it work in reality? I would really like to think about it as a big octopus, which is planning the production, planning the supply network, planning haulage, needs for raw materials. It is really very much important, and I don't really have a time to go into each and every part of this planning, but what I would like you to bring with you when you go out of this hall is that it's kind of very complicated, and it has to have this S&OP process in the heart and in the center, because if you don't, you will not be able to conquer all the complexities that you will find on the way. When I say here production planning as a capital E in an end-to-end process, I mean that this is actually the main point, because out of production planning, you will later on plan your raw material needs, you will plan your haulage, you will plan your supply network as such. In Coca-Cola, I can say it's very difficult, because we do have many constraints. You have limits when you are planning the production and supply network. We have lines which are 98% utilized over the summer months. We have very constrained or limited warehouse space, especially in Croatia, which is very seasonal country. And also we have one difficult constraint, which means that Sarajevo plant is one of the contingency plants in Hellenic. So out of these 28 countries, we actually do have a lot of countries which do have a need during the summer for incremental volume, which Sarajevo can offer. And this all is actually creating quite complex environment that we are planning production in. When we move back, if we have production planned correctly, we will have our raw materials on time, and we will not suffer from out of stock on raw materials. In Coke, we are managing 617 raw materials, and I can tell you that, as already was mentioned by previous speakers, this year we have faced scarcity on almost half of them. So it was like, it was not really an easy task to be the supply chain, especially this year. We also have in our planning, we are planning the preform production. Preform is the plastic little thing out of which the plastic bottles are blown later on. So we have this part of production, and it's produced in-house. And also in this part, we are planning the stock replenishment on all our warehouses. Why some of the difficulties in this part, so raw material and haulage planning, would be that previously mentioned, scarcity or sourcing and the prices of commodities. We are operating with a lot of commodities. We are using, of course, sugar. We have resin, which is the PT. So it's the most important part of our product. And this year we have faced serious lack of it on our markets. Then we have also Zagreb plant warehouse, which does not actually exist. So we are one of the rare plants in Hellenic which does not have the finished goods warehouse near the plant, which is making our lives difficult even more. We have to prepare continuous goods flow during the day and during the weekends, especially during the summer, in order not to stop the plant from working, because if we would produce too much finished goods, then the plant would have to stop eventually and not produce. Therefore, 24/7 haulage is something which is mandatory for us. And if this was not giving you the right perspective how planning can be complex in such a business, I will just briefly mention that in planning we are also planning all the imports and the exports that we do, or the products that we have which we are importing, and premium spirits. So imported non-alcoholic beverages are making 45% of our total portfolio. I'm sure you didn't know that information, and it's quite busy when we start planning the imports. 24/7 portfolio furthermore means that we do have something for the evening, so you can use something of our products for the evening as well, because we are proud distributors of five brands which are world known and are going into category of premium spirits. One thing that is very important to mention here is that spirits might represent only 0.21% of our volume. However, inventory-wise, because spirits are quite expensive, they are presenting more than 22% of business unit inventory value, which is we have to be really careful when we are importing them. However, we have to prevent out of stock as well. One of the complexities very important in this part is that 90 days, some of the SKUs have 90 days lead time, which means that you have the boat coming from United States in 3 months from now if you ordered it today. Not to mention that coming back to ships and containers, this year we have faced severe out of stock on Jack Daniels, for example, which is coming from United States because of the lack of containers and lack of ships, or smaller numbers of ships coming to this area of the world. So in a nutshell, this is the brain. And I will now go into a little bit lighter area, but this year very difficult as well. In Hellenic, procurement actually operates in two areas, which we call direct procurement, procuring the commodities and actually everything what goes directly into the drink or what is the raw material, and indirect procurement, which is everything else. But when I say everything else, I really mean everything else. So in procurement, we are procuring one day we are having the machine that we need to buy, and the other day we might go into direction of procuring trainings. So the purpose of the procurement and their main task is to manage 100% the spend that we have, not only in Adria, this is across Hellenic. And I have to say that we are quite near that target as well. So why do we do that, and how do we do that? I have to mention here that we, whatever we do, we try to be as much competitive as we can. And we also try to have compliance, internal and external compliance with our processes, which are helping significantly to procurement as well to have these all responsibilities that they have. So it goes pretty much, I would say, the same as it goes in most of your companies. So we firstly identify procurement needs, then we go and prepare the specification. The difference here is that we have some specifications that TCCC or legislation can limit or create, and we also have some innovations which are going to be presented to us by Hellenic itself, so we don't do that locally. Then we go into the process of supplier selection, which goes the same as it goes in any of the company. So it starts with a negotiation process, then we define the purchase orders, then we send it. The difference that we have in Hellenic and in Adria, I would say, is that we always have contingencies that need to be prepared. So it's not one supplier, it's always, and there is always plan B, so that we never stay without anything, which is crucial for our business. And last but not least, when we said, and at the beginning of this slide, I mentioned this compliance, which is very important to us. So all the procedures and all the processes need to be compliant very much, not only with internal legislation, but also with our own processes, which are sometimes really even more requiring. And last but not least, this is representing how we process buying. So spot buy and strategic buy, as you can see here, are the only categories that are actually done by procurement, while self-buy represents one of the biggest categories, because all of us need something in the company like that, or in corporation. Somebody needs stationery, somebody needs training, somebody needs something third. Self-buy is the biggest category. However, its sourcing is done by the side of the function. So each function is actually doing this itself. Why? Because we want to focus our procurement people, and we want them to be more efficient, and we believe that the biggest spend should be covered with their bigger effort. So this is the only reason why this is categorized in this area. Of course, the area or the process how we will buy depends on the total spend that's going to be on that category. And now, if we believe that supply chain planning is the brain of the organization, then I can say that manufacturing should definitely be the heart of every organization. First, manufacturing, I will represent proudly Plant Zagreb. Coming from that plant, I am really proud to be there. Plant Zagreb is a mid-size plant according to Hellenic standards, which are measuring volume, number of SKUs which can be produced, and number of people. In Plant Zagreb, maximum which we produced was 17 million physical cases. And I have to say that we have 3 lines there. 2 lines which can produce PT products, and 1 line which can produce only glass products, 0.25 glass, which you can all see in HoReCa outlets. And we have also Preform Production, which is the last one, which I mentioned a bit earlier, which is in-house. I'm telling about it because most of the companies have outsourced this one and are buying the preforms. We are producing them, and the annual production is 96 million pieces. When I would talk about how we are measuring efficiency of our plants, I believe I would firstly mention asset utilization, which is on the second KPI on this slide. For this year, it's 64-62. which means that our lines have been utilized 64%. Now, it might seem like it's only 64%. However, what I want you to remember and take from this presentation is that during the summer, all 3 lines in Croatia are utilized more than 98 to 99%, which means that we are operating in peak months 24/7, which we call 4-shift operation, so 24/7, 7 days a week. So it's a quite big, I would say, asset capacity utilization. And the second one, which is also the interesting one, and I love it, is line efficiency. Currently in Zagreb plant on 68.16%. And this number, it is a bit lower than it should be. I expect it to be a bit higher, on 75%, as it represents how efficient our lines are compared to their theoretical speed. So there are a lot of influences that can ruin this KBI. However, I believe that we should and we will be better next year for sure. Coming to Sarajevo. Sarajevo is second plant in business unit Adria. It's a smaller plant. Maximum production that they have had is 11 million versus 17 which were produced in Croatia. But when you take a look on the lines, you would see that they also have 2 PT lines and 1 RGB line. However, this PT2 line is not operative during the entire year, and this is where I already mentioned that we are producing contingency volumes for the other operations. So during the year, this plant is functioning basically only when producing mineral water, because it's connected with mineral water line. Again, we have own preform production, and we are producing in Sarajevo 80 million. So this is how our heart looks like. And when we have a brain and when we have a heart, we need something to move us across the earth. So we need logistics. There are many ways on which we can, or models, to distribute the goods towards our customers. So I will tell you now how we are doing it in Coke. First model, and the most simple one, the goods are produced, the goods are delivered to the warehouse, and the goods are delivered then from warehouses to our customers. Very expensive one. But if you have the strategy that all the goods will be delivered within 24 hours from customer's order, this might be the only one which works perfectly. It's costly. It's very much can very much influence your service level. There is a lot of administration, but still we are working like that in some. Not in some, I would say largely in Coke. When we are delivering directly to the store, which is again the same model, however, we have the sell-in data available, which is very important for companies like ours, because we want to know what and how our customers are selling on the spot, on the exact outlet. So this is also one of the things that we can use as the opportunity when we are delivering directly to the stores. The second model would be the central warehouse delivery. Today we have a lot of key account customers, which we didn't have before, which are having their own central warehouses. And we are using there the opportunity to deliver to their central warehouses. It might be from our warehouse. It might be also from our plant. It depends where we have the goods. Of course, we prefer that we have direct plant delivery to central warehouse, because it's giving us some cost opportunities. So in these cases, what you are going to be asked by customer is to, let's say, split the logistic benefit, or this is what we call logistic discount. However, here in this model, you have a little bit less potential in full sale in data at store level, of course, because sometimes the big key accounts are not giving you this data. Cross-dock delivery, which we use largely in Dubrovnik area and Tuzla area, where you basically premix the goods, put them on the big trucks, and then you deliver them to the certain point, which is in this case Mešković, and then from there you are putting that on the smaller trucks, which are delivering the goods to the islands or to the customers in the south part of Croatia. Quite a difficult one from our perspective, because it's always easier for supply chain when you can do something directly from your warehouses than from the cross docks. However, what is really specific is that the entire Slovenia is delivered as on a cross dock principle, so which means that we don't have a warehouse in Slovenia at all. So from Croatia to cross docks in Slovenia, and then to the customers in Slovenia. And last but not least, the ones that are, I would say, modern ones with us, backhaul and pickup, which we started to use recently, last 2 or 3 years, where we are trying to find the opportunities together with our customers, as transportation means are more and more limited. In logistics, we have a very good question, I would say, from our customers, and that is what our customers expect us to do and how we are delivering to their premises, and do we really deliver what they are requiring us to deliver. So we would say on the normal situation, we would probably say yes, of course, we are measuring diffotai due to this fact, but the question is, do we really measure what the customer wants us to measure, and do we really reflect the quality of service that our customer wants? And this is where we come to the KPIs, as you can see, which we are measuring, and we are saying that we are claiming that this is what customers are really interested in. In Coke, we put it a bit on the side and said, okay, let's sit together with the customer and let's see what are the real differences in the service level, what really our customers are measuring, and why our delivery in full is always different than customers' one, and why our out of stock is not reflecting what customer states as out of stock, basically. So here I know that you cannot see all of these KPIs, and it's not important to see them at all. What is the most important one is that in Coke, I wanted to point out here that we have developed customer-centric logistics department or customer logistics, which is measuring each and every of these KPIs in order to help our customers achieve the service that they need and they want. For example, you have a lot of joint value creation KPIs which we are measuring, which are directed actually into the measuring quality of service levels together with our customers, cost perspective, technology. It's very important to us that actually when customer says our shopper is not very happy because they cannot find your product on the shelf, it's very important for us to understand that it's not only out of stock. It's also, do we plan the promotions together with customer? Do we really measure the diffotai that customer is interested in? Do we really have value for all the partners in this relationship or not? And this is what I believe, which makes us different from other suppliers. Bless you. And last but not least, I will finish my presentation with quality, safety, and environmental department. As I believe this is our guardian angel, because they are guarding all that we do. They are very much monitoring the quality of our products and the quality of our processes as well. And the quality is something that in Coke can never be trade-off for anything, no matter how big benefits would be from the other perspective. The thing which is becoming more and more important, health and safety, not only of our people, but also of our partners and customers as such. And last but not least, environment. We have been talking a lot today about the carbon footprint, and we have mentioned environment a couple of times. So we have people who are actually working on carbon footprint reduction every day in order to make us the best in this area. And with this, I will thank you for the patience that you have had. I hope it was interesting, and I want to wish you all Merry Christmas and take our products for the Christmas as well.
I want to thank you, Ms. Ožeg, for a very interesting presentation. Now we have some questions online, but maybe we also have it in the hall. If you have questions, please just raise your hand so we can give you the microphone. And in the meantime, please, if you can answer one online question via Zoom, why do you have Preform Production in-house?
It's a good question. Preform Production, we have it in-house because we want to assure the best quality. As well, it is quite important to say that having a haulage between the plant and the potential supplier can sometimes eat all the savings that we can have from having it outsourced, having it with 3PL. So this is the model that we choose, and I believe it's a good model to have it in-house.
Thank you for your answer. We have one more question. Since supply chain manager is not reporting to general manager, is that creating tensions between them?
No, actually it does not. What is very important to mention here is that our GM is the owner of P&L. So basically there is no tension between the regional manager and GM, but they are cooperating together in finding the better ways to benefit from this relationship.
Okay, thank you. Do we have more questions in the room? No, then we have a few of them more on Zoom. So please, if you can tell me, Zagreb line is more than 95% utilized in peak time.
Yes.
Do you plan extensions?
No.
That's it. Okay. And the last question online. Coca-Cola has no optimization with customers network. Why not?
Can you please once more repeat?
Okay. Coca-Cola has no optimization with customers network. You said that.
I believe. Is it a statement or is it a question?
The question is why not?
Okay. I don't think that we don't have optimization with customers network. That's I don't know how this person concluded this. First of all, one of the optimizations that we have with our customers or with the network as such is VME and EDI process for the orders. The second one is that we are basically working on implementing pickup model and backhaul models wherever we can. So I mean, I don't know. This is how I see it, but it's a good thing if somebody sees this differently, and if this somebody is our customer, to contact me directly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers. Now we are. I want to once again thank you for the presentation. The presentation of supply chain of Coca-Cola.